Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee, and I know some of you hate when I make the show too topical, but today we are going to talk a little bit about encryption. Look at me, I'm in a crypt. Boom, Artemis, builder of the keep. I have been encrypting all of these columns to make little crypts in them. I don't have the signs yet or the marble slabs that go inside of them, and I don't even have all of the columns all the way dug out yet. We are going to have a lot to do in this area, like, what is this? Should be a torch here. And, I don't know, a whole, like, digging thing going on here. You know, I've gotten started on the ceiling, though, and last episode I went and got a ton of... Whoa, what is that glitch? Okay, for a second I thought there was lava there or something. I think that's the sky is shining through for some reason. Dear Floor, when you show me the sky, I get a little worried. Love, Joe. Where was I? Yeah. I was encrypting all of these pillars. We are going to put one crypt in each pillar. There are over 40 crypts in this place, and each one of them actually adds a lot of writing overhead for the original creators of this. Doesn't add as much writing overhead for me because I don't have to make up who goes in the crypts, but Tracy and Laura Hickman, your work is appreciated. In reality, most players will probably just blaze through this area on their way from one place to another, or get lost here, and it'll be a terrifying maze of the dead, which is also good. But, you know, it's one of those things where if players want to start opening crypts, you gotta be ready for that. You can't just be like, well, this one has another skeleton in it. Anyone who is important enough to be buried here is important enough to be buried here with their stuff, and to have a story behind them. Now, it doesn't have to be a big story. In fact, the best thing you can do is to contribute to the story on the whole of the castle. And so most of the people buried in this kind of crypty area here have something to do with the castle itself, like the, what was it, the Builder of the Keep crypt that I just emerged from, or others might be the brides of the vampire Strahd, or his family members, or other people who had places of honor in his court over the centuries. And it's pretty good to have, you know, a lot of crypts, because in theory, if you're a king, there's going to be a lot of, you know, bodies in your wake of in the wake of your decisions, you know, that sort of thing. It's better to have that kind of taken care of up front. So, anyway, as I look at our inventory here, we don't have anything to actually line the ceilings with. We went and got a ton of ink last episode, but we still don't have the actual wool that we were going to use to make our bat-covered ceiling. So I think that it might be a good time to run upstairs and grab some wool. I say upstairs, I mean like escape out the air shaft that the bats use, which we can do right here. Although, there is an interesting little thing here where one of these crypts, or at least what appears to be a crypt, this one back here, actually leads you down a hallway. And then that hallway leads you down a slide. I need to build the slide. Let's do that real quick. I hope I lined this up properly, or this slide will be very embarrassing. I'm not sure what the best material to use for a slide is. I'll probably end up just using stairs, because it's Minecraft, and that's at least, it'll look like a slide, kind of. Although the stone brick stairs might not be ideal. Maybe marble? I really hope this is actually going to intercept what I think it should. It does! It leads you right into this cell. Look at that. That's the magic of actually building things to scale and having them work out, is that you can get dumped all the way down that chute into this cell. That is amazing. I'm so happy with how that turned out. Now I'm going to actually brick that off right there for later, because we don't want anybody to accidentally find this secret slide from the other side down there. But, boom. One less thing to worry about. Anyway, let's go on upstairs. Time skip. As you can see, we are back in the catacombs here. I love how these pillars, like, parallax past each other. This feels like a massive room, but it doesn't feel like an oppressive massive room yet. And in order to do that, we need to start putting the bats on the ceiling. And unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to have to do some jumping to make that really happen. Oh wait, looks like I can actually reach these if I stand directly below them here. Nope, too many bats. Bats aren't that tall. So we need to actually kind of come in, and in order to get the arc of the ceiling to work, we're going to have to jump up on these and have the bats kind of fill in the top of the vaulted ceiling as well. And I'm not sure how well this will read from an angle, but I'm hoping it reads reasonably well. And unfortunately, we just gotta kind of start throwing bats on against things in order to figure that out. Whoops, too many bats there. Too many bats there as well. In 3 dimensions, this might not read, but that's always a danger with using dark colored blocks. Let's see how. Yeah, that looks reasonably dark. Unfortunately, the walls here are so bright, it doesn't really work the way I would like for it to. But maybe that's just because I haven't done enough of the ceiling yet. However, wool is in such short supply. Like, it's going to be hard to do everything in this episode. I might do some of this off camera. I just wanted to kind of convey the general sense of what we're trying to achieve here. So then, when I do it off camera and then we come back to actually play the game, you'll be like, oh, that's what he was doing. You know? No real surprises there, except for all the awesome surprises. So, let's see. Does that... Well, the ceiling definitely looks darker. Kind of terrifying. I think once I cover this main ceiling, it's going to do a lot more. But also, inside of each of these tombs here, we need to actually go ahead and lay down some slabs upon which the dead might rest. And I'm thinking of doing it at that height, although really, that's going to feel more, yeah, that feels a little bit better there. Yeah, I think we might do it like that. And we need a sign above each of these tombs. Now, the signs were written originally by Tracy and Laura Hickman when they devised these catacombs. And these catacombs have one of the only all-caps introductions in the original Ravenloft module. Let me read this to you right now. Please read this section with care. Much activity can take place here. That's how I read all caps. I feel like it adds an emphasis in the right places. Anyway, what we have got here is the catacombs fill an area roughly 110 feet east to west by 180 feet north to south. Catacombs are made up of 10-foot wide arched walkways running between 10-foot square crypts. The arched walkways and the crypts support the ceiling. There are 5 exits. So, anyway, we've got these pillars, and each of the pillars has, in this main area, has a door facing this main walkway here. But once you get off that main area, some of the doors face south or north or whatever. They're all over the place. And it's supposed to be kind of disorienting for players. They could get lost down here to some degree. If they can get back to this main hallway, because it's double wide, they can generally figure out where they're supposed to go. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start putting some signs on some of these crypts and doors and things. You know, actually, this is why we have a whole thing here, because I know that I'm going to need more doors for a fact. In the land of more doors, where the shadows lie. But Joe Hills always tells the truth. Wink. Or does he? I'll leave it to you to do your own critical evaluation. Anyway, let's put some signs in. Sign skip. Patrina Velikovna. Bride. Irina Kolyana. Wife. Well, we've already taken care of Artemis, the builder of the keep. Who's on this sign? Sir Eric Vonderbucks. He is a noble who had his corpse covered in gold. I kind of think it might be neat for some of these guys to like, oh, I don't have any of my fancy dyed wool with me, but it'd be cool if that one had like a yellow carpet or something in there. I don't know. Or a sideways armor stand. I don't think you can do those. This crypt is missing its door. So, that one, I put that sign there so I would know it's supposed to be missing its door. Sasha Ivliskova. Wife. Man, vampires sure have a lot of wives. So ideally I would add some cobwebs to this one, but so that's the thing, is there's like all this detail work that I could do, because there's supposed to be cobwebs over this corpse. But like, if I get too in the weeds with this, like detailing it out in the real world, it's going to take me as long as it took Tracy and Laura Hickman to figure out what they wanted to do with this. What story are they telling by having all of these tombs full of wives? Probably something about the vampire himself. like that he's lived a long time, or that his wives don't, which, you know, might be a good note if you're a prospective suitress for the vampire. Crypt 23. The first time the characters happen upon this crypt, they see one of their names determined randomly etched into the door. So we're just going to put up here Cub Fan. There we go. Now, if Cub Fan isn't actually in the first round of players, I'll go ahead and change that to somebody else, like Asuma or somebody. But that'll be a little goofy, fun joke. Okay, so some of these crypts are kind of like embedded in the walls here. So this guy gets a tomb that's actually cut into the walls of the crypts, and he also has his name up here twice, because apparently not only is he a sir, but he's an admiral. So he's probably a pretty good sir, and a probably passable admiral, if I had to guess. He might be a man of doubly admirable disposition. Or at least his body is now. So, there's that. He's got that going for him. Good job, Cedric. Good job. Oh, wow. So the actual full sign for this guy says, confused though he was, he constructed the largest navy ever for any landlocked country. Tasha Petrovna, healer of kings, light unto the west, servant and companion. Now, yeah, this guy, he apparently has a really good job, but he still gets a little tomb and a pillar here. Because, like, I still have to mine this out, but yeah, that's a pillar tomb. Enjoy your small crypt. Although, I guess to be, you know, in the foundation of a vampire's castle, you know, you're still a pretty important guy. Important enough. I'm trying to avoid reading any spoilers for the adventures about these different tombs, but some of them, when you open them up, stuff happens. And sometimes it's good stuff, and sometimes it's bad stuff. And this is definitely a tomb that has stuff. Although, really, all of them are See, the thing is, like, opening each crypt, according to the rules, takes time. They're not actually doors in front of them. They're like stone slabs, and removing a stone slab is going to be a time-consuming activity for a player. It's not just like in Minecraft where I can go... You know, they'd have to actually roll dice and take time, and it would make a sound to move the slab. So if they're being hunted through these catacombs, they can't just go, like, shopping, smashing up crypts, looking for stuff. Now, if they're looking for something because they have a clue that something is buried somewhere in particular, they might try and find a particular tomb and open it. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting mechanic for a game where you're either hunting or being hunted by a vampire, depending on how well things are going for you. I don't know. I like it. This whole area just has a certain joy to it. It's got some things that are tragic, some things that are funny. And players, because they won't have time to explore every part of this, they're going to get a different experience if they replay the game and visit other parts of this area. Tatsal Ares. Dang it. Uppercase. Last of the line. Boom. That is a sign on Crypt 40. All 40 crypts now have signs above them, whether they're Sir Klutz Tripolotsky, or General Kroval Mad Dog Grislek, or we knew him only by his wealth, which, I mean, that guy's name is way too long, or creepy claw marks are only thing above this door. Whatever it is that they told me to write, I put in there. This is going to make this so much more immersive when we actually get to play this. I'm also really excited and interested to see how some of these crypts had very little detail in the original castle because Tracy and Laura only had so much time and space. So, like, in the original, it said Kazan, his word was power, and then there's no description of what's inside. But in 5th edition book by Chris Perkins, he actually added a whole bunch of stuff like, if you're inside the tomb and you do or say certain things, what happens? You know, that's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. Also, this one, Elsa Falona, was just listed as Elsa Falona with no description in the original 1981 text. But Perkins, being Perkins, made it Elsa Falona von Twitterberg, beloved actor. She had many followers. We get it. It's a Twitter joke. Good. I've actually, like, put my head down for a little bit when I first wrote that. I was like, dang it, Perkins, you got me. Oh, yeah, King Katsky the Bright. This is another one that's interesting. It kind of changed from the original book. He was King Intra Katsky. There was like a joke about intricacy there. But now he's a time traveler, apparently. Or so he claims. We'll have to find out what's inside and loot that tomb to find out. Oh, here's one with the door already open and lying on the ground. It's the only one with a stone door, because it's easier to make a stone door on the ground than a stone door not on the ground. So, yeah, I'm just real excited with how well all of this has really come together. Oh, Prince Ariel de Plumet. This is another great one where the original text had a really cool ghost in here about like a guy who gave his soul in order to gain the power of flight. And the ghost would attack you if you like went in there and screwed with his stuff. But in the new book, the ghost will possess a player at random who touches him or whatever. So maybe not at random, maybe at contact. And then like have that person try to run upstairs and then fly, which is a great thing to do. Like, you know, if you've seen me play this, you know how well it goes to fly off the edge of this castle when you don't actually have the ability to fly. Or do you? Anyway, this whole thing is just, this is such an interesting piece of writing. Thank you so much to Chris Perkins and to Tracy and Laura Hickman for putting all the work they did into this. Getting to build this out was a real treat. And it's going to be interesting seeing how the hermits actually play this and what they actually stumble into. Some of these are traps, some of these are treasures, some of these are terrifying, some of these are joyful and delightful. And, hopefully they open the right slabs, or any of them. It's also entirely possible they will get into the first room and just attack the vampire and be immediately slain because they don't understand how, you know, intrigue works. So maybe I built all this for nothing. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me today as I built this awesome pillarscape. I'm having a great time on Hermitcraft, and I hope you are too. Anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.